Hi guys, welcome back. It's Tommy with another Starcraft Remastered replay cast from the South Korean ladder 2024 recent replays. Finally I found a longer game here in between Flash and a Protoss. So usually it's around a 10 to 13 minute replay onto this channel. It's very fast replays, but this time quite a longer replay here in between him as his opponent here in the upper right as the brown Terran, and his opponent here in the upper left in the teal. It is DMNet, also a South Korean pro. As you can see, a very high APM for him. And yeah, I'm very happy given the fact that it is once again a replay with Flash versus the Protoss, but this time a longer replay. So what exactly is going to happen here? Perhaps Flash is going to be trying one of his known timing pushes, but is it going to be possible now finally for the Protoss to find a solution against this strong push by him? What exactly is going to happen? Perhaps we will be even seeing some High Templars, perhaps some carriers from the Protoss, maybe arbiter gameplay. Everything could be a possibility here for the Protoss. It could be, of course, a very interesting replays. Now, of course, we do have the production tab in the upper left part. We see the pretty standard open up here by the Protoss, pylon into gateway. Same can be said here for Flash, supply depot into barracks. So nothing out of the ordinary yet into this interesting game, and even Flash is now going to be taking his gas here as well. I believe the same can be said here from the Protoss. So we have the standard build order for both players. Like I told you, nothing out of the ordinary. And Flash once again moving out at around the 1 minute and 50-second mark towards scouting here the map. No movement out here by the Protoss. Usually the Protoss will like to find out later on where the enemy is located. Just focus onto their macro game. And actually a lucky scout here by Flash with his SCV going straight to the upper left part. And at the same time his barracks is about to get finished, so he is very likely going to transition into a factory very soon. Perhaps a couple of Marines will also be done by him. We do see him mine with 3 SCVs, but of course he does transfer some of those SCVs towards mineral, and that's exactly what is happening now. So a very interesting move now. No more SCVs are mining from the gas as he's going for his factory. Let's see what SCV is going to be doing here. Checking out the main. Sees of course the build order from the Protoss. Flash still not mining from the gas, so I believe that gas is known for him for the factory, and immediately he's sending out those SCVs back to minerals. So very interesting build order, as once again we do see the air upgrade here for the Protoss, and from what I understand this is just a upgrade to fool the Terran here, and once again he's cancelling it. So the SCV sees everything now, he knows of course that the Protoss is just playing around with his upgrade, still scouting the map. So he saw that the ball here was spinning, and now as he sees that it was cancelled, now starting once again. But interesting enough, once again it's air weapon, so perhaps this upgrade right here is much more not that much expensive as the upgrade for the Dragoons. Very nice mind game play here by the Protoss, as he should be of course cancelling this one and now going for Dragoon range. In the meantime we also have expansion, but hold on, we actually have a Citadel of Adun, a nicely hidden Citadel of Adun here by the Protoss. So he might continue with the Templar Archive, so we could see a Dark Templar push, a Dark Templar rush even by him after the scouting SCV has been sniped. So very smart gameplay here by the Protoss. Let's see if this is going to work out for him. At the same time his Dragoon is moving here forward towards the expansion point from Flash. Only one Marine guarding it, no upgrade yet for the range, as the Protoss goes now into a robotics facility bay. We see some upgrades for Flash, the mines for the vultures for him, as he's now also fully mining gas onto the map. A second, no, it's actually a vulture, so perhaps Flash is going to try to move here forward with the vulture towards the main, but the entrance is nicely getting blocked here by the Protoss. So very smart gameplay here indeed by him. And let's see what his next building are. It is a Templar Archive indeed, so of course it's going to be very hard early on for the Terran to detect any invisible Dark Templars, given the fact that no satellite has started yet here for Flash, and also no engineering base. So of course he's not expecting a attack by some Dark Templars. Would be very devastating, as the Templar Archives as soon as about to get finished. You might even see a shuttle here for the Protoss. So the Dark Templars, the first Dark Templars should also be produced very soon here by the Protoss, as he might have to need to mine some gas here. Let's have a look. Actually, there is the response from Flash. 3 Marines, 1 Vulture in the front. Notice that there's not that many units here left for the Protoss. Only 2, even 3 Dragoons. No range has been done, but the first Dark Templars are getting produced. He's of course going to try, very likely, to snap the tank right here, but already taking quite some damage. One Vulture has been snapped. The second one might also be targeted very soon, so Flash might notice that there is something out of the ordinary happening here, given the fact that there's only a couple of Dragoons defending this location right here. Now the probes have to be pulled. In the end, I believe the Protoss should be fine. He could snap this Marine, but the real damage dealers will of course be the Dark Templar. So the reaction from Flash is immediately, there's the engineering base, so he's sensing of course that something out of the ordinary might happen, and a lucky connection here with this Vulture, proving to be very, very strong with his mines. And sadly here for the Protoss, he has no observatory yet for him, as he's pretty much going to rely onto his Dark Templar. So there we have the push by the Protoss. One Dark Templar, the other one has been sniped. Flash only building his turret right here. Let's see, let's have a look at the worker count. 35 workers here for Flash, as more and more damage is being taken, but a nice surround towards this one turret, and with that I believe Flash is going to be able to hold, and he's going to be able to push this back. Let's have a look into his main. Another turret is getting produced here, yet another one here, so the defenses look really, really strong here by Flash. I believe he should be fine, given the fact that the shuttle is also taking more and more damage. Still a very interesting move here by the Protoss, but wasn't really able to deal any significant economic damage towards the opponent. Maybe he's going to try his luck once again right here, but there is detection. There's also many units onto the ground for Flash, so he's nicely holding this early cheesy gameplay here by the opponent. And with that, things have settled down a little bit. The Protoss is very likely going to transition into some gateway units. We have range for the Dragoons. More and more gateways are being done, and we might even see legs for the Zealots very soon. So with that, of course, the Protoss forcing Flash to go to invest into some turrets right here, so it's not very likely going to be a timing push, or is it, as there's more factories now getting produced here for Flash. So I believe he's still holding on into his tactic, but notice that the Protoss is not going for his second expansion right here. He's just waiting, having some Dark Templars out, some Dragoons are out here as well. Bags are really, really much needed for his Zealots, as Flash is playing very, very safe right here, waiting for those factories to get finished, and very soon he might very likely go into more tanks, into more Vultures. Perhaps some Goliaths would also be a good idea versus a shuttle gameplay here by the opponent. And the Observer is giving important information here for the Protoss, seeing everything right here. Look at the upgrades, of course, still 0-0. Same can be said here for the Protoss, as one Dark Templar is moving out here for the Protoss. And we actually see another attempt here by the Protoss to deal damage towards the main, this time from the opponent. Some mines to get some connection, so not that really that much is getting done here by the Dark Templar. However, a supply depot or two could be sniped here for him, as at the same time we see a movement out here by Flash with his tanks, but he needs detection. In comes the Dark Templar, going to spot the tank move out, and let's see what Flash is going to be doing here, scanning the area, seeing the Dark Templar, is it taking it out? So Flash decides once again to do a timing push, but this time not that many units being available here for him. Quite a risky move out by him, as even the Dragoons are now moving forward to engage. Sadly here for Flash, caught a little bit off guard. There is no speed done for the Zealots. Still some tanks do get sniped. Another tank might get sniped soon, and yet another one here, as we see the drop with the Dark Templar right here. And sadly here for Flash, he has no turrets, he has to retreat now back home. Quite a chaotic scene, as slowly but steadily we go towards the 10-minute mark. One tank could of course be taken out very soon here by this DT. And yeah, very, very good strategy here by the Protoss with this Dark Templar. Surprise versus the Terran, as still some tanks, some low health tanks will be taken out here. Sadly here for the Protoss, not paying attention, not clicking onto the tanks. Two more tanks could have been easily taken out. Flash really has to repair those tanks very, very quickly and add a turret or two in order to have vision against the Dark Templars. We see a transition into some High Templars, we see some Protoss Stargates, so we might see a Arbiter gameplay very soon here for the Protoss. So a much more interesting gameplay here for the Protoss versus the Terran, and it looks like the Dark Templar rush seems to be a good answer against a aggressive move out by the Terran. So very smart gameplay here indeed by the Protoss, as once again he might try to add some Zealots here with speed legs. not all of the siege tanks once again are being sieged up, so the zealots are in a great position surrounding all of those tanks. A very good move out here by the Protoss, but in the end Flash brings his vultures back into the game. Sadly for him, he's losing tank after tank, so many tanks have been here indeed sniped. Now the vultures pretty much have to take care of all of the dragoons, so both players are losing quite a large amount of units right here. Finally the tanks do arrive, the reinforcements, and with that Flash should be able to secure this zone right here with mines and tanks. Yeah, still interesting game, as we do have the Arbiter Tribunal, so it is indeed going to be a Arbiter gameplay. At the same time we do see another expansion, a nice hidden expansion here by the Protoss, and even this expansion could be taken here, so this might force Flash to go for some dropship harassment. And the fact that this position is pretty much exposed, in comes the vulture, the cannon is about to get finished, but sadly here for the Protoss it is going to be taken out. So good fast move here by Flash, still deciding not to do a brief right now. He's going to be taking it out, but yeah, in come the dragoons forward. He just needs to be careful, there are no observers right here. Actually there is an observer, so sorry about this one. He's going to take out of course all of those mines. In the meantime Flash of course adding more and more units, regrouping his units here into the middle of the map, but in comes quite a strong push with some zealots in the front. Very beautiful scene here to see those zealots, and now finally great storms are being added here by the Protoss with a shuttle actually in the back, so very smart move by him, giving a good position towards those High Templars, snapping a couple of tanks, and now the real damage will of course be taken by the dragoons onto the low ground. So very good Protoss gameplay here indeed. Still Flash does have some units left, so this just shows again how strong the Terran push can be early on, and looks like the Protoss just going to try to lure the mines in towards those tanks, but in the end it was just two zealots, as now the Protoss seems to be in a little bit of a better situation here, as once again he's going to try to snipe some units with the shuttle here, dropping some units towards the tanks from Flash, towards the mines, as he's waiting for his reinforcements to move forward. Still has some dragoons into this area, so he might try a surround, but there's also the units from Flash nicely getting splitted up. So let's just see what's going to happen here, as the Arbiter might be the saving grace here for the Protoss. More and more reinforcements are pulling forward. The Protoss patiently sending out one zealot in the front to soak up the mines, but slowly but steadily the siege is continuing here, and slowly but steadily the siege tanks are reaching now finally the range for the Nexus, and with that the Protoss might have to be forced to engage here. Once again a very smart move by him from the high ground, casting those High Templar Storms, dealing massive amounts of splash damage towards the vultures, and also notice that he's waiting in the back patiently, but now finally he's deciding to move forward. Zealots are in the front once again, engaging the mines, trying to pull the mines, and tanks are still shooting here left and right. There's still energy for a good storm, so more and more damage being taken left and right for both players. Is it going to be enough here for the Protoss to hold, as the reinforcements do arrive on time? The same can be said here for Flash. He's also bringing his vultures in the front, but still remember that it is indeed a 4-phase Protoss. So much micro going on, as all of those probes have been forgotten there. Those probes are still mining here, but yeah, the real action of course happening now into this location. So Flash desperately needs some vision now against Arbiter gameplay, and a great pull this time with those zealots, sending out wave after zealots here for the Protoss. Very smartly done, given the fact that his economy is allowing this of course to sacrifice some units. Now once again mines are being pulled, but in comes the zealot once again. This time however too much damage has been taken, as the reinforcements do arrive from the high ground here for the Protoss. At the same time the shuttle seems to be sacrificed here. Some units are still here in the front, so a very chaotic middle game here, a very chaotic scene here for both players. So much damage is being taken left and right, and let's see for how long the economy from Flash is going to sustain this, as more and more reinforcements are pulling forward here for the Protoss. Let's just see how many gateways here. So many gateways here at home, but still so many tanks are moving here forward, so perhaps the Protoss needs to somehow surround those units. Is sending of course the zealots in the front. The mines will be lured towards the tanks, but yeah, those tanks are very deadly onto the low ground versus the units from the Protoss. So perhaps the Protoss is going to abandon this Nexus right here. He still has those bases onto the low ground, so he's still looking very good. Look at the worker count. There's 20 more workers here for around 13 more workers here for the Protoss still. And yeah, let's see how he's going to deal with the timing push here from Flash. Once again, well executed, but Flash really needs vision against those invisible units. Hold on, we actually even have another attack happening here into the low ground. So now the Protoss is in some serious trouble, as his other base is pretty much under siege by another group of tanks with vultures. So this zone is pretty much in control here for Flash, and the reinforcements just have been pulled here towards the low ground. So nice multitask here by Flash, attacking on two different fronts, securing of course the exit from the Protoss and going for the expansion point at the same time. Now the vultures are moving forward. We might see a recall by the opponent as more and more pylons are getting sniped here for him. We might see a small counter attack with some dragoons here, but the real action of course is happening here into this location, and there's the recall, a nice defensive recall here for the Protoss, catching Flash off guard. So very smart gameplay here indeed by him, securing his nexus. Of course the Wolof has been taken out, but in the end Flash with the Protoss with a very smart move, giving protection towards his expansion and still staying at 60 workers here versus Flash, whose base has been taken out here by the dragoons. So that was a great counter attack here indeed by the Protoss, and a nice greedy gameplay here, continuing adding another expansion, having so many gateways being added. So very good macro game here indeed by the Protoss. Great recall here as well, but now once again there is an attack happening here by Flash, as this expansion has of course been taken out. The push has pretty much been stopped, but there's more reinforcements pouring forward, as still those dragoons are doing a great job there defending the expansion. And hold on, let's just see what exactly is going to happen here. Sadly here for the Protoss is once again losing more and more. Flash bringing his tanks forward, 0 to 1 upgrades for him. The Protoss at also 0 to 1, and sadly here for the Protoss he has to retreat onto the high ground, so meaning that he has to abandon this nexus right here, but he still has another nexus here. So very nice game by the Protoss indeed, as Flash still on a 2 base strategy. So Terran showing us how great they are with only 2 bases versus the 4 base Protoss. Now in comes the push, but the high ground is pretty much in control here for the Protoss. He has the Arbiter to support his units. He even has High Tempo Storm. Sorry, Great Storm has been casted here indeed by the Protoss, and the siege continues here as the Protoss has of course to react. There's the scan, there's the Goliath. We even have a science vessel now. Hold on, we do actually see the reinforcements pouring forward here for the Protoss. Even probes have to be pulled, as now finally the Protoss is able to stop this aggression by Flash, and with that Flash is also being able now to secure his zone right here and to take out the dragoons. But yeah, worker wise we still have 12 more workers here for the Protoss versus Flash. So a very aggressive and non-stop action game here by both players, and the action actually continues here with Flash moving forward towards the 6 o'clock position, and with that of course the Protoss has to abandon it. We might see him of course transfer all of those units to a different ground, and now finally we do see him also take the other expansion right here. So still the tanks are in control of the exit from the Protoss, but of course the Protoss can nicely bypass this with the Arbiter gameplay here. And yeah, let's see how the game is going to continue. Let's see once again those upgrades, 0 to 1, more units are getting produced. Another Arbiter is getting produced as the Protoss is now deciding to move here out onto the map. And yeah, there we have the attack by Flash with a great multitask indeed by him. There was an attempt to attack here by the Protoss, but in the end the defenses look very strong. Also those mines, so very good versus a recall by him. And interesting enough, the Protoss now dropping to 52 workers. So all of a sudden Flash only with 6 workers behind, as he's once again pushing here forward. He might be lucky to just snipe the nexus right here. I believe that's exactly his point, but a great storm once again has been casted by the Protoss. So really greatly executed storms by him, as reinforcements and probes are being pulled forward. So the Protoss really doesn't want to lose this expansion right here. Another great storm. The Zealots should be able to finish off the tanks. So great game indeed we have here, as we see the reinforcements moving forward by both players. Flash pretty much abandoning the defense of this expansion right here, throwing everything he has towards the expansion from the Protoss, and now even the science vessel might get sniped. So great pickup here by the Protoss, as the Arbiter is still behind here for him, as once again he's retreating towards the high ground. But yeah, 53 workers versus 46. Still in comes the push. Let's just check Flash's upgrades. 1 to 1 upgrades by him. Arbiter is here, but we do have a scan. We do have the Goliath dealing damage towards the Arbiter as the tanks are slowly but steadily once again into the reach from the Nexus. So very great game here indeed by both players. Great defense by the Protoss and great attack by Flash, who is going to be winning this crazy game as we have passed the 20-minute mark. Double Arbiter gameplay here for him, and a nice ice field now against those tanks, but sadly for the Protoss, he's losing one Arbiter, the second one also taking some damage, and the tanks are still in range for this one Nexus. So in the end the Protoss has to give up the location right here. He's of course going to try to inflict so much splash damage towards the units from Flash. Still those tanks haven't been taken out here, as there's long distance mining happening here for the Protoss. So very nice sneaky gameplay here by him, securing him more and more of the minerals, as now finally Flash decides to pull back. He's repairing his tanks and he's going to regroup perhaps with his reinforcements in towards a new location right here. Perhaps he's going to try to secure the middle of the map, a very important strategic position right here onto this map. And let's have a look at the reaction here for the Protoss as he's mining more and more, and now finally going into more and more probes, even long distance mining from here. And he could even add another Nexus, but it would be of course a little bit too late. But yeah, those newly established bases looking very strong here for the Protoss, as more and more units are getting produced here by him. So yeah, let's just see how the game is going to continue, what exactly is going to happen. All of a sudden Flash playing more defensively here, bringing his tanks towards the center of the map, regrouping all of his units there. Like I told you, a very important strategic point into the middle of the map, as the Vultures are now moving forward, planting more and more mines. Let's check the main, still mass gateways. There are some units here for the Protoss, so I hope he's not going to forget about those. And yeah, slowly but steadily Flash knows of course how important the lower left part of the map is, as he's moving forward with his tanks, with his Vultures. 1 to 2 weapons upgrade. Checking the Protoss, 0 to 2 for him, as it's quite a small group of units here for the Protoss versus the incoming siege tanks and Vultures and Goliaths. And very importantly to have vision with this one science vessel for Flash. So another good casted storm. Somehow Flash is able to micro those units out of danger. He needs some SCVs to repair them, and now there's a good vision here for Flash with the science vessel, seeing the invisible units here for the Protoss. As the Protoss has to retreat a little bit, he's going to try to buy some time for his economy, for his macro game, as in comes the attack now by Flash with his units. And there we have the Protoss casting some great storm once again, but the real damage would of course have to be dealt in the back, as those tanks are clumped up together. And it looks like the Protoss is pretty much going to commit here forward, not without his Arbiter, so he needs to be careful not to forget about this Arbiter, and it would be very wise for him to snap this one science vessel. Perhaps now is the time we even are going for a Archon. Very nice to see an Archon as the siege continues here. So Flash bringing more and more forward. The Archon of course very tanky with his shield, but in the end it has been taken out. Another great storm has been casted here by the Protoss, so much splash damage is being taken here by Flash, and the siege tanks are besieging into the back. But it looks like the Protoss seems to be having enough. Is there's going to be somehow a recall happening here? No, it's just the ice field versus the tanks right here. So great spells here indeed by the Protoss to hold the Terran back. But if you look at our supply here, Flash having more and more. There are still Zealots being brought here forward, and finally a good connection here by the Zealots in the front. But we do have now defensive matrix versus the Zealots. A very smart move here indeed by Flash with his defensive matrix. He is able to of course keep the tanks more and more alive, as more and more is getting brought forward, and slowly but steadily Flash is gaining more and more of a control of this map. Once again the Protoss has to abandon those probes right here, sending of course some of his units out, try to stop this. There's even 3 Arbiters now into the air, so perhaps he's going to have to wait for his reinforcements and then just try a Holy Mary recall, perhaps towards the main production buildings here from the opponent. It would be a possibility for him. Currently he's just casting ice fields versus the tanks. He has so much good control here for Flash, as he's of course buying so much time for his middle base here onto the map. So slowly but steadily we go towards the end of this game. Is it going to be perhaps Flash's game, as the Protoss tries of course his best to defend right here? Perhaps a miracle recall, like I told you, would help the Protoss a lot, but he's taking more and more damage Flash having more and more supply, securing another expansion right here, even taking another expansion right here, having the middle of the map, having good control here towards the exits from the Protoss, as there's now a patient gameplay here by him. But all of a sudden he's deciding to change the strategy, deciding to change the position from his tanks. Once again, having good vision with his one science vessel, a very wise decision by him, as another newly established base has been taken out. At the same time, we do see an engagement right here. Flash feeling really confident, fighting on two fronts. He has the vultures in the front, he has so many mines here ready to connect. And a very hard game here for the Protoss. Sadly for him, a little bit of a miss micro with his probes, bring those probes forward. Perhaps he tried to tank the units right here. But yeah, now finally he should be able to clear this out, but at what cost? He has dropped to 31 workers. Is it going to be enough for him to hold this? Now even the probes have to fight here versus the units. In the end, it looks like now Flash seems to be wanting to go for the main production buildings right here as those tanks are rolling forward. Let's have a look at the upgrades once again. 1 to 2 seems to be enough for him, as this might be the winning move here for Flash. So very patient gameplay here by him. Very nice multitask by him. Great strategy gameplay, great EMP shockwave to stop a recall. And now the main production buildings here from the Protoss are in danger. I believe with that, Flash might have done it here. We do see a small counter-attack here by the Protoss into the middle of the map. But there's also many tanks here ready to secure the zone right here. A great storm once again has been casted, really great storms, but in the end, of course, the Protoss has to give up this game, as Flash played very patiently, very nicely, and in the end being able to overcome his opponent. So a great nice sneaky gameplay here by the Protoss with the Dark Templars holding the Terran at bay, holding Flash at bay, and also great micro here by both players, and a great macro game here indeed by the Protoss. But perhaps carriers would have been a better choice instead of arbiters. Still, Flash of course countering the arbiter gameplay with the science vessel into the air. And let's not forget that the science vessel also gave great vision onto the high ground. There's so many ledges here. The science vessel, a perfect decision here by Flash. And in the end, of course, the tanks, the vultures, the Goliaths once again being able to secure this very nice game here in between the two pros. So very nice try here by the Protoss to inflict damage towards Flash with his Dark Templars, but in the end it has been held and Flash taking this game. A very nice back and forward game. Was thinking that the Protoss was ahead given the fact that he had so many bases versus Flash, but showing us how strong Terran can be with only 2 bases actually moving out and having a very late third base, still being able to take out this Protoss right here. So very good game here by both players, very interesting game, finally a very long game actually. After so many short games, I finally decided to also cast a longer game, as it would be much more interesting than a fast timing push once again by Flash. But yeah, a good game by both players. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Tommy signing out.